I'm a firm believer that events throughout your lifetime shape your character. As a kid, growing up, we lived in Austin. Me, my two older sisters, my twin sister, and my mom. At the time, we were living with my dad, but things eventually began to change. He was a very hardworking man at first and would do anything for us, but he then started getting into some bad stuff that started to break him and my mom apart. He stopped working, was hanging out with the wrong people, just not really doing anything right anymore. So my mom packed up everything and we moved back to Lamesa where we live now. We really didn't understand what was going on because me and my twin sister were only about 2 at the time. So as kids, it was kind of hard not knowing where our father went and why we moved, and it was a tough time. But my mom luckily was a saint, and she worked 3 jobs at times just to make sure we had everything we needed. And also my grandfather helped a lot. He was always there, but it was still hard. As a kid, I remember growing up, and we maybe saw him 4 times throughout our whole life, from kindergarten, or from leaving him really, to when we were about 12, 14. We didn't really seem to talk about it much with our mom. We just kind of tried to stay off of the topic because we didn't know how she felt about it. And at the time, me and my sisters didn't really know why we left him. We weren't aware of what he was getting into and the bad things he was doing. But when we got around 12, we started asking questions, and she had told us that he was getting into bad stuff and doing lots of drugs, and he just quit working. He wasn't doing anything anymore but sitting at home and doing drugs. And my mom didn't want us around that. And at that time, it was still hard to understand, but as we got older, I appreciate her for doing that a lot. I couldn't imagine growing up with my dad while he was on all these different drugs. Would have not been good for the house and me and my sister being so young. But so we were pretty upset with him for years and years until we got a call one day saying that he was not doing well and he was very sick, and he had stage 4 pancreas cancer. And so my mom, being the amazing person she is, she decided it was time we forgive him and we go and see him for a little while and just say bye before everything happened. And we didn't get a chance to say bye and forgive him. So we made a trip to Austin and we talked to him as much as we could. He couldn't really do much because he was so sick, but after we got home, I remember being in track practice and a bunch of the girls had come down from the locker room, and I was in track, so I didn't have time to look at my phone or anything, but they all started like hugging me and saying sorry, and I was wondering what was going on. And I had figured out that my dad had passed away that day, and it was definitely hard, but we got through it. We have amazing family, and my mom's a saint. She raised us very well, and this song kind of reminds me of just how bad drugs are and addiction can be hard.
White lips, pale face, breathing in snowflakes, burnt lungs is our taste. Lights gone, days end, struggling to pay rent, long nights, strange men. They say she's in the closet.
Throughout this, I learned that forgiveness is everything, and in a way, forgiveness is freedom.